let's go ahead and get started to kickstart your business, an intro to RPR residential. What we're going to do today is just a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation to teach you guys a little bit about RPR. Then we're actually going to go into the platform for a little live demo. So it's going to be a really good class today. I'm just going to move my video. Let me know if you guys need me to turn that off or if it's taking up valuable screen room. I'm more than happy to do that. But first, what is RPR? Realtors Property Resources, NAR's technology company. We're a wholly owned subsidiary corporation and a national database of parcel-centric property information for both residential and commercial properties. So let me know if you guys are commercial practitioners. We got a lot of new commercial tools over the last year. And what we mean by parcel-centric property information is it all starts with a tax ID number, right? Once we have a tax ID number, we can figure out if that property is zoned commercially or for residential use. And then once we divvy out those properties and we have that tax ID number, we start building information for that parcel. Or for that parcel. So we get property appraiser information, we get tax collector information, we get deed information from the clerk of courts, we get title info, we get mortgage info, we get school info, we get flood data, we get demographic data, and we compile property information for each parcel. And then because your local MLS participates, and I'm going to assume that you guys in the Houston market are primarily HAR, right? So the MLS, that layer of MLS information also goes into RPR because HAR is a partner with us. So they give us their active, sold, and off-market listing data. So that becomes a layer of information on the property as well. And this platform is built exclusively for realtors because we are part of NAR. We are a dues-funded member benefit, so you don't pay any additional fees to access this information. And we don't provide any consumer access. So although we have an app that agents can use to access RPR on the go, we have a desktop if you want to dive in and do some deep research. Other than that, we don't have a consumer search engine. We don't syndicate. We don't have a consumer app. We don't auto notify or anything like that. So this is really a tool for you guys as agents to use to be able to research the information that you need. So how does RPR fit into your real estate business model? We know you get tools from all over the place, and it can be really overwhelming. So RPR comes to you really as a member benefit from the National Association of REALTORS. And over time, RPR has partnered with state associations as well as local associations to bring this tool to you easily through things like single sign-on and branding. We partner with MLSs to pull in that current and historical MLS information into RPR. We partner with brokerages like Keller Williams Memorial, and they provide us with your brand recognition to have it embedded in the platform. So when you prepare presentations and reports for clients, you get that broker recognition. Your broker also provides us with your local brokerage community. So those could be your partnered property managers, title companies, lenders. So that affiliate information appears in RPR as well, because we just want to be able to make RPR a resource to help you become an effective agent when it comes to real estate knowledge. We want you to be able to be efficient, and hopefully instead of having to go to 5 different resources to get information, you can come into one resource to get information. Because that's really our goal, is to help you be the most effective and efficient realtor that you can be in your marketplace. You guys can access RPR through your association. You can access RPR through your MLS. You can also go to our general website, which is narrpr.com. You can create your free account just by entering your last name and your NAR member number, and then you create your username and your password, and that's going to bring you into your RPR account. So let me know how many of you out there already have your RPR account created. As I said earlier, you also have the ability to use RPR through your mobile as well. So the RPR app can be downloaded from the Google Play or the App Store. You're going to log into the mobile app with the same username and password that you use for the desktop. Then once you're initially logged in, it's going to keep you logged in. But I want you to be aware that there are some differences between the mobile app and the desktop that you would access on your laptop or PC. The mobile app is streamlined. It doesn't have as much history in it because we want it to be super responsive and super fast. And then it's also integrated more with phone functions. So you can email reports, you can text message reports. It works with your mapping functions and your driving directions. So it's a little bit different, right? So there you go. That's the primary difference between the two. But what we want to do today, this is really just a high level overview. So a lot of you, and I'm getting like a lot of feedback. There were a bunch of I do's out there. Oh, and Mitch is on here. I didn't see you on there. Let me go ahead and see if I can change Mitch to panelist. That way, if he wants to jump in and add any comments, he can do that. So a lot of you, this may be just a little bit of repetition, right? But we're going to talk just a little bit about the RVM and the refined value. We're also going to talk about ways that you can get that snapshot of market activity. We're going to talk about pricing properties, buyer searches, sharing reports, and a little bit more. Now, with that being said, the more feedback you guys give me, the more questions that you have for me, the better this will be for everyone to learn RPR all around. Now, in RPR, we do have estimates of value. And an automated valuation model, or an AVM, is just a mathematical algorithm used to determine value for a property. These are oftentimes on advertiser-based websites, and they're accessible by everyone. So any consumer can go to Google, they can type in what's my home worth. They're going to get thousands of websites, billions of websites actually, where they can pick a site, they can throw in their property address, and it's going to spit out a value. Those sites use publicly available information. So they're looking at sales from public record data. In RPR, we have an RVM. It's trademarked to RPR. It's the Realtors Valuation Model. And this is a market value estimate calculated using publicly available information, as well as that local layer of MLS active, sold, and off-market data that we get from the local multiple listing system in your market. And what makes this really cool is that we're checking the value like every 2 weeks. We post the month over month change and the year over year change, but it's actually refinable. So it's a starting point for you to go in and say, hey, I know what the RVM is and I know what it says, but because of these outside factors, this can be a little off. It could be a little low, or it could be a little high. So be aware of those. We're going to talk more about RVMs a little bit today. When you get into the more in-depth pricing, we really focus on it. But for now, I want to jump into the RPR desktop. So at this point, I have already signed into the demo account that we're going to use for training today. So you should see right off the bat, on the upper left-hand side, we have that Keller Williams Memorial logo right there, front and center. So this is the main brand that's going to appear on all of the reports that you create within RPR. And if you're not familiar with RPR, when you hear the term report, that's how you get the information to your client, whether they're a buyer or a seller. You go in, you create a report, and you email that report to them. So think of it like emailing a listing or emailing property information out. You create that report. It's going to have that brand recognition in it. But with many products that you use, the first time you get into it, you want to go in and you want to customize your profile, because we will get a portion of your contact information from the MLS or the association that you participate with, but you always want to go through and double check and fine tune everything. So check out your profile. You're just going to follow the top of your screen from that KW logo all the way to the other side. You're going to see a circular coin in it. Or if you've done so already and you have your profile updated, you're going to see your image up there. Click on that coin in that drop-down box, select your profile, and I'm going to go ahead and delete my image, but it should be blank like this unless you've already gone in and customized it. So all you have to do to import your agent photo is go to upload photo, and then wherever on your desktop that you have your agent photo, you can go ahead and click on it. You can open it and import it into RPR. You can crop and zoom it if you need to, right? And then once it gets locked in, you're good to go. You can move to the logo just to the right of that. Now, the logo that you see in RPR here, just to the right of the agent photo, is independent to the Keller Williams Memorial logo. So this you can use for really whatever you want. If you have and let me know if you guys work in teams within your brokerage. If you have a team logo that you want to upload, you can upload that team logo into RPR. If you have a team photo, maybe it's not even a logo, but you have a team photo and you want to upload that team photo into RPR, you can do that. Maybe you just have your own agent brand and you want to upload your agent brand into RPR, you can do that as well. So you can lock that information in and essentially get your umbrella brand at the top for your Keller Williams Memorial, and then you have your agent photo and your agent brand or your team brand embedded in the reports that you create as well. Then all of the contact information that you see here will come in from the association that you participate with. So you'll see your contact information, your brokerage name. Then you'll have your phone number, your fax number, your email address. You can add multiple forms of contact information. You can label those forms of contact information as well. So add in those phone numbers, those fax numbers. I don't even know if we still use faxes. Can't remember the last time I did. You have your email address, you have your website, all of that is going to get locked into RPR. At this point, you can scroll down a little bit more and you should see your MLS information locked in here. It should automatically default for all of you to be, and I gotta find Texas, it should default to your primary MLS system. And I'm gonna take a guess that Houston is probably the primary MLS for a lot of you. You should see your internal MLS ID number here and a green check mark, which means when you go in and you search RPR, the listings from that MLS system are available to you, whether they're on market or recent sales. The history should be available to you as well. and your listings. If you were the listing agent or co-listing agent on a property, or if you were the selling agent on a property, those will be linked to you within RPR as well. So that locks in your MLS information. So at this point in time, I'm just going to go to the top right-hand side. My menu bar is kind of like a floating bar. So I don't really have to scroll up or down. I'm just going to hit that save info because I want to lock the contact information into RPR that I've already added. I'm going to get a thank you where I can go back to the home page, or I can just close this dialog box. I'm going to close this dialog box so it keeps me on my profile page. Now, if you guys participate with multiple MLSs, you will see that there is an add button here where you can come in and say, hey, not only do I participate with Houston, but I participate with this association as well. They can be in the same state. If you're licensed in multiple states and you want to add those, you have the ability to do that as well. So if there's any market overlap and you have to participate with multiple MLSs, just add those MLSs and it'll unlock the information from those MLSs as well. So that's available for you. That way you have access. Yes.
Ours are, the add button is grayed out.
Is it? And it says Houston and you don't have an ad?
It says Houston.
Okay. I'm going to double check. Is that for all of the agents? It's grayed out?
I'm not sure. Let me try something and I'll hop back on in a second.
Okay. And I'm going to make a note, Mitch, just to double check that. Keller Williams Memorial. All right. And while Mitch is checking on that, I want to come down and just point out right below that MLS or CIE information. Okay, Lisa's commenting if you fill out the information. So make sure you're coming in, you're selecting the state, you're selecting your MLS, you're adding your ID number, and then you're adding it in there. Then the add button will be available. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
And then I just want to comment right below that MLS or CIE info, there is a link here that says listing data access. And it says you can view active listings and off-market data. So essentially, when you come in and you set up your RPR account, you have access to that public record data for every parcel across the US, regardless of where it's located. And then as far as the MLS information goes, you have access to the MLS information from those MLSs that you participate or subscribe to, right? And we have, I don't even know how many MLSs that participate with RPR. I think we're at like 98% coverage. So, and I'm going to use Houston because I'm familiar with it, and it's such a great association to participate with. You have the Houston Association of Realtors. HAR can decide, hey, since we participate with RPR, we're going to let all of our agents have access to the active listing data. But hey, we also have agreements with some of the neighboring associations across the state. So you know what? Let's give those associations access to our data as well. Or they may come in and just say, you know what? We're going to go ahead and let agents across the country view our active listing data because they're all realtors. And if they're trying to help a client and they want to look at what's going on in our market, we're going to let them. So every association that participates or every MLS that participates with RPR can decide who they want to share their data to. And this link right here allows you to come in and say, hey, I want to find all of the MLSs that share data with me. And you can come in and actually search by state. Now, I'm in Florida, and the primary MLS system in my market area is Stellar. They kind of work the Gulf Coast of Florida, Central Gulf Coast to the south, to the southern Gulf Coast, and then along the I-4 corridor and the Orlando market, and then the beaches off to the East Coast. So they're kind of in the center. And to Stellar, it's really important for agents all across the country to have access to market information for Orlando, because it's one of the highest tourist areas across the United States. So Stellar shares their data with everyone. So you guys in Houston, even though you don't participate with Stellar, some of you may have never even looked at the Orlando market. You could search Orlando and find out what's going on with the active listing information, because it's a thriving part of the Orlando business. So you can come in and find all of the associations by state and see who shares their data with you. And if there's any market areas that you're interested in, you just go to the homepage and you search by city, and you can find the listing data to that. And this is something that we call RPR view. So for many markets, you do have access to MLS information, even if it's outside of your MLS. So kind of a cool thing. If you want to learn more about it, it's the RPR view. You also have on this page your license number. And then I like to point out here that you can create accounts for your administrative assistants. Assistants are beneficial to agents, they're beneficial for teams. So if there's anyone that helps you create reports for upcoming open houses, research properties, pull content for social media, or mailings, and you want them to be able to go into RPR and operate RPR under your name and your brand, you can come in and say, hey, I just want to create an account for this person. You add the information, you agree to terms of use, and then you can create that account. So that is there for you as well. You can have up to 3 per RPR user. Once you get that information in, you're just going to agree to the terms of use, hit save, and now you can go back to the home page and you're free to move about the cabin, as I say. So I'm just going to jump back to the home page and we're good to go. If you jump into RPR right now, you may notice a block right here that says, hey, we're updating our mapping boundaries based off of the updated census information for census tracts and census block groups. So if you go into the mapping tools and you search by census tracts or census block, that may affect your searches right now. If you don't search by that, go ahead and hit this dismiss button and you're good to go. We update those maps as those updates come in from the US Census. So here we are back at our homepage, and I just want to go through the RPR navigation bar to give you a little bit of insight on how you guys can use RPR in your daily activity. So under our research tool, this is where you can come in and use some of our commercial tools. If you want to go into our commercial map or do site selection, you can run a residential market area activity search. And your market area activity search is essentially coming in to RPR and saying, hey, I want to look in a particular area. Now, this can be a particular city, it can be a zip code, it can be a neighborhood. But if I come in and let's say it's Monday morning and I want to know what's going on in Houston, Texas, and I want to know for the Houston market, anything that is a new listing, any property that had a price change, any property that pended, or any property that sold just within the last 3 days, right? I wasn't in the MLS, I wasn't in RPR. I just want to know what's going on with the single family homes or the condos. You can put in a price range if you want to. You can put in beds, baths. You're going to get, and I'm actually going to uncheck the condos or townhouses because Houston's a big market. And I'm sure even just going 3 days back, you get a lot of activity. Maybe I come in and do a price range. You have beds, bath, living area, year built, and you can go in and update your search. So let's go in and I'm going to say, hey, I want to know if there's any changes to listings for lot or land. So I can go in and do different types of property searches that way. And I'm just going to look for properties that have an acre of 2 or more. And we're going to go in and see 1. Okay. So if I had someone that was looking for lot or land, they wanted at least 2 acres, boom, here's a new listing. I know it was just listed within the last 3 days. That's kind of like your hot sheet, right? That's your market activity search. And you can come in, you can see this in a line item view. You can see it in a gallery view, and you can also come in and see where this is located within your map view as well. And then again, if you wanted to come in and email this out to your client, you can go into view full details. You can print it and email it as a PDF or download it, or you can come in and say, hey, I just want to create a really quick report. I like the mini property report. This is kind of like my go-to. It's short and sweet. I get the property value. I get the home facts. If I want to send photos, I can send photos. And then I can come in. This is just a new lot listing over 2 acres. Let me know if you are interested. All right, so I can come in. I can check the radial to email it. And then I can go ahead and email it out and carbon copy and run a report for myself. So it goes to my client, it goes to my customer, and I was able to come in and really quick pull that from my market area activity search. We also have a school search in RPR, and the school search allows you to, oops, sorry guys, that's my doorbell telling me my report is created. The school search allows you to do a geography-based search. So if I wanted to come in to Houston, Texas, I had a client, they were interested in some high schools in the area. I could come in and say, hey, for Houston, what are all of the high schools? I can search by geography or school district, and then it's just going to load and give me a list of schools based off of the level that I have selected. And I can also filter it to a school name. These are going to be, sorry guys, these are going to be public, private, or charter. So you're going to see the name of the school, the level, the grade served, the location, what the rating is. You can print this off if you just want to get a whole list. But if you click into a particular school, we get our school information from niche.com. It's updated on a quarterly basis. You'll get the contact information. You'll get the ratings and reviews. You'll get the academic grade, teacher salary, as well as reviews on the school. You can view nearby listings, and you can get nearby schools based off of location. Then you can come in, and of course, if you want to create a school report and share it with your client, you just go ahead and create that report. So that's our school search. You can also do a neighborhood search. A neighborhood search is going to allow you to type in a city or a zip code and get the demographic information for that area. Of course, if we were looking at some advanced searches, there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with neighborhood data, but this is going to give you housing insight, what's going on with the market and property values, what's going on with the population, density, household breakdown, your economy, which is your labor force and unemployment, and quality of life, rain, sun, snow, commute time, average monthly temperatures. NAR releases a profile of home buyers and sellers every year. I think in 2022, it was like their 40th edition. So they've been doing it for over 40 years. And one of the top trends that came out this year that really struck me was 46% of home buyers, the quality of life, right, was the most important thing to where they were moving. And I think it was 48% of home buyers and sellers were moving 500 miles away from where their previous home was. So you have people moving from outside of their market to marketplaces that they're not familiar with, and the quality of life, right? Their access to their desired neighborhood. The quality of life is also access to community features and restaurants, whatever it may be. For some people, it could be restaurants and bars. For some people, it could be outdoor spaces. So having access to that demographic data is almost more relevant now than we've seen in the past. So lots of stuff you could do with the neighborhood searches. And then, of course, you could do a map-based search. If you want to search by map, you can zoom in and zoom out and layer different geographies. And you can do just a general property search by address. But right here on the homepage, your primary search bar is front and center, where you can go in and search by address or by city and pull up any property. Just to the right of research, we have marketing. And marketing allows you to jump in and say, hey, I have a coming soon property, or a just listed property, or a price change on a property. I'm doing an open house. I have it just sold. I really quickly want to be able to create a property flyer for a listing. You can create a property flyer. Or if it's permitted in your area, you can prospect for clients, whether you're looking to pull mailing information for potential buyers or potential sellers in a market. Prospecting within RPR in the use of mailing labels with RPR is available to all of our users unless you are in a market area that prohibits the use of public record data for marketing. And there are a couple of counties in Texas that prohibit it. And off the top of my head, I can't remember, but you can come into the help. And if you go into mailing labels, you'll see what those prohibited areas are. But we can't do anything about that because it's essentially like against the law in certain counties. So, but you can use RPR for prospecting. Just to the right of our marketing, we have all of the different reports that you can create in RPR. So we just created not too long ago our mini property report. So if I wanted to view it, I could click right here. It's going to bring me into my reports page where I can open the report. I can view it so I can see what that brand looks like, what my contact information looks like, what the property info looks like, what the photos look like. So you can open the reports that you create for your clients. But if it's something like emailing a report out, you can view the report activity to make sure that your client received it and get that validation if they opened it. Our reports in RPR are PDF reports. They're active for 30 days, but they're not live. They're a PDF. So if I email this report out to my client and in 2 weeks, I noticed there was a price change, I would come in and rerun and resend that report if I want them to have that updated information. You can also post reports straight onto Facebook from RPR as well. So you have some report functions that you can do. And just because I work from home, and even though I wear a headset when I'm training, the reports, when you create a report, I don't know if you guys heard it or if you're aware, but when the report is generated, it rings a bell, like you get this doorbell notification. And if you have dogs, it will set all of the dogs off in the house. So if you ever wanted to turn that notification off, your trigger is right here. So that turns off that noise when the report is generated. You'll still get your little pop-up, but it's a silent notification. Then we have some learning and help features. So right now I'm on my reports page. So if I click the learn on my menu bar, it's going to teach me about residential reports. I'm also going to get some top questions from users. So if I wanted to look at those top questions, and I'm going to get some how-to with the Realtor Insights. So if you wanted to actually get some embedded training, you can click on the Learn menu. But if you just want to reach out to our support desk, do a live chat, or visit our training page on our blog, you can click into the Help. Just before you get to your profile, you have a category called My Work, and that's RPR just having a file folder system set up for you. You can access your listings. Again, your listings are properties that are filtering in from the MLS system, where you're the listing agent, a co-listing agent, or you're the selling agent on a property that sold within the last 180 days. It could also be an expired or withdrawn listing if that would apply as well. You can save properties. You can look at recent properties. You have access to the reports that you created, the notes you have saved, as well as saved searches. So that's kind of just a little file folder system that we have going for you. But I want to go in and run just a pretty simple property search to teach you guys a little bit about how to use RPR. So right now I want to do an active listing search, and I'm going to come in and search Houston, Texas. And I want to look for properties that are listed for sale that are coming in from the MLS system. Now we have properties being filtered in that are for sale, as well as available for lease. Right now, they're both selected. So if you're looking for rentals, or if you wanted to see what rental properties are being leased at, you could come in and say, hey, I want to find properties that are for lease, but I also want to see what they were leased at in the last 3 months. You would just select the active, and you can select the closed, and that will give you active for lease as well as recent properties that were leased. But I'm going to come in and say I want properties that are for sale, but I only want the active properties. And I want properties that are single family homes. I want properties that are listed between, I'm going to come in, I don't really know the Houston market. So I'm going to say 300,000 to 675,000 total price, right? And I want to come in, I want 4 bedrooms, I want 2 bathrooms, I have more filters. And when I go into the more filters, it's going to tell me how many matches I have so far based off of my criteria. So I want for sale, active, single family, 4 beds, 2 baths. I want at least 2,500 square feet. This usually kills the matches when you put in a square footage, 441. If I want like at least an acre lot size, it's going to come in and it's going to tell me how many matches I have, and I'm down to 4, right? So maybe I come in and say, let's do a half acre. You could do lot size in square footage or acreage. You also have distress statuses. Our distressed information is going to come in from 2 sources. We get it from public record data, which means the notice of default, the intent to foreclose, or it's a bank owned, is coming in from public record. But if it's an actively listed property and the agent disclosed through the MLS that it's a pre-foreclosure or it's going through the foreclosure proceedings, or that it's bank owned, it would also trigger that flag. And what I'll do sometimes, I have 7 properties, right? Let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and just I want to get like a good number and see what we get. I have 74 active single family homes within my price range that are on at least a 1/4 acre. If I wanted to see if any of them were distressed, I would just hit the exclude button. And then I just scroll back up to the top. I had 74. I still have 74, so it doesn't really apply to my search. I don't have a lot in this market. So it's just an easy way to see if they affect your search. Sometimes when you start getting a high number of foreclosures, it could start affecting the list price of the properties. Then you have your year built down here, and you also have your keywords. And the keywords are all of those wonderful MLS features that come in, right? Oh, they want equestrian property. And if you come in here and you're like, well, there's not equestrian on here. We have horse, so you can select that. But you could also come in and type in equestrian and add it. And it's going to look through the MLS fields and the public remarks to identify properties that have that unique feature in the area. So you can add those as well. And then once you get open houses are here as well. So if you're looking for open houses within a particular time frame, you can enter those in, and those will come up with your search. And I'm going to go ahead and just update my search, and it's going to go ahead and load all of those property matches. Now, with your matches, you can look at them in a list view. Your views are here to the right-hand side. So it's above your matches, but below your search. So this kind of little section right here. You have your list view, which you can sort by column, right? So if lot size, if they have their criteria, 4 beds, 2 baths, their square footage, but they're really interested in the lot size, you can come in and do high to low or low to high just by clicking on the column headers. And that's going to do your sort depending on how you want it. If you wanted to come in and sort by something like open house, I can come into my sort by list, and I can scroll through here and just say, hey, this is their criteria, but we want to know if there's any upcoming open houses. And it's going to go through and bring up all of the upcoming open houses. So I can come in and select these properties in a list view and say, hey, I want to print off just these selected properties, and you can print them off. Now, of course, if you wanted to look at one, you would just click on the property photo or the address, and that's going to load the full detail view. I can change it to the gallery. This is my favorite when it gets to analyzing properties for a buyer, because you can come in and you can thumbnail through the property photos, right? And then you can save them as a favorite if you want to save it as a favorite. And then that's going to put it into your My Work and into your saved properties list. Same thing, you have your search up here. If you wanted to save this as a favorite, I could come in, and this is my Gleboff single family, 300 to 675 for 2, whatever you want to do. You can go ahead and save it, and then it's going to jump it into your My Work, and it's going to be here as a saved search so you can access at any point in time. But you can come in and flip through the property matches if you want to. Right, you can look at the photos, you can save them as a favorite, and if I want to view more information, I can click on the photo. I really like this house. And I can click on the address, and it's going to load the information for that property. When you come to this print, you're going to get the print preview that you see. So I like the gallery view for that because you get the larger photo. You can also go into your map view, and the map view, you're going to see all of the property matches. You can pan and move your map around if you wanted to zoom in. Here's my favorite property. It's got the little heart on it, so I know that's my favorite. The ones that are new have this little highlight. I can see which ones are updated with upcoming open houses. I have a couple in here that are for sale or for lease, right? So if you want to know what's going on with these different listing indicators, to the map tools on the right-hand side, you can go to the legend, and that's going to give you the little pop-up to tell you what's going on with the properties within your map view. Now, you do have the ability to utilize the map in a couple of different ways, and I want to share some of these with you really quickly. But you can come in to the upper right-hand side, upper left-hand side of your map, and you can go to the Show Geographies drop-down, and you can come in and layer different map boundaries. So maybe they don't want all of Houston, they just want a few zip codes in the Houston area. And I'm going to zoom in here, but I want to select these 3 zip codes. So I can search just within these particular zip codes if I want to. Maybe they wanted to search within a particular neighborhood, or they wanted to get into a particular elementary school or high school. You can come in and search by those attendance school zones as well. So you have some different geographical boundaries that allow you to search depending on what the information is, and you can search that way. You also, if the boundaries don't work for you, to the right-hand side, you can draw a shape, freehand, radius, polygon, box. You can use driving directions. So there's all different ways that you can search within RPR. And then, of course, if we're looking at a particular property, I can view the full details. And this is going to give me the layers of information. And the layers of information for a property are going to be along the top of the information page. So we have property info, market trends for the area. I can refine the value. I can comp it out for a contract to purchase. I can look at the neighborhood demographics, the housing, the people, the economy, the quality of life, rain, sun, snow, commute times, and I can add my own information for the property. We're just going to take a look at the property info today. We're going to see right below our property info, I have access to the MLS photos that I can thumbnail through. So you can look at all of the information for the property photo. I'm really just being selfish and looking at the house right now. We have our street view. I love the street view. It's a live street view. So you can click and pan and drag and move the map around. And this is good because you can get an idea of the curb appeal of the neighborhood. You can get an idea of, in Florida, you would never see a community with this much space in between the houses. You can come in and see the condition, the curb appeal. You have your satellite view. You have historical photos. So I can come in and see this property was listed back in 2015. So if I wanted to look at the property from when it was listed previously, I can look through those old photos. So I can look at the images. Just to the right, I get the current list price, I get the RVM value, I get the beds, the baths, the square footage, the acreage. I get the basic facts, right? Price per square foot if there's HOA. I get my pricing tools again if I want to comp it out for a comparative market analysis, if I want to refine the value. I get my public marketing remarks, and just to the right of the public marketing remarks, we have the map of the property. I'm going to come back to that in just a minute. We have our open house information. I have our public record facts. I have our listing record facts, where I can kind of see a couple of discrepancies here. I have public record telling me it's 3 bathrooms. The listing detail is telling me it's 3.5, so it's 4 total. So a little bit that I want to look at. I have a little bit of a discrepancy between lot size that I'm going to want to look into. So I can see right now there's some things that I may have to research a little bit. I get the listing details, financing terms, HOA, phone number. I get the interior features from the MLS system. I get the public interior features. I get the exterior features. I get the public record exterior features, legal description, schools based off of location. I can click into the schools and get more information, owner information, location details, including flood zone. Oh, it's in a flood zone. We're going to check that in a minute. I have current listing information. I have previous listing information. So I can look at that. I have deed records for the property. I have tax records for the property. I would get mortgage info, distressed information that would be here if it applies. I get the sales and financing activity and the estimated value of the property. There was that jump in value that happened in 2022. And I can jump back up to the top. So all of that is kind of right here, front and center. Here is that RVM info, right? So you do have the ability to come in and look at what's going on for the property. You can look at the value. Again, you can come into market trends to see what's going on in the market area for single family homes. You can see what's going on for the inventory. Not much in this particular neighborhood, although that's really weird. I'm going to write that up as a little bug. Hang on. Okay. So you're going to get all of those data layers for the property detail. Now I want to come in and go back to the map for just a minute. So I want to click on the interactive map, and you'll see within the interactive map, you can come in and see the public record parcels next to the property or around the property. So I can come in and view the details for properties that are around it. And this is a public record property that's kind of like across the street in a way. So this is an off-market property. And I just wanted to use this as a comparison because it's an off-market property. You can still see the property info. You can view the market trends. You can refine the value. You have a CMA. You can look at the neighborhood demographics. You get the RVM value. You get the public record information, the beds, the baths, the square footage, the lot size. But now I'm only going to see the public record facts for the property. I'm only going to get the interior and the exterior features for the property from public record. I'm going to get the legal description. I'm going to get the schools based off of public information. I'm going to get the owner information. I'm going to get the location details, but I will see the previous listing history. So the property did sell back in 2004, or it shows that it was listed back in 2004, but it was canceled. But according to deed records, oh, it looks like it became bank owned way back in 2012, right? There was a lien on the property and it looks like there was a warranty deed, and then there was a vendor's lien and an interfamily transfer. So some stuff happened with public records way back in 2012. We get mortgage information, tax information, sales and financing activity, and value info. So you do have the ability to kind of come in and look at public record data as well as on market data, right? So it's just the different layers of information that go into a particular property, right? And then, of course, if you wanted to come in and create a report, you could come in. I, again, like the mini property report because I've already created a mini property report. How I customize it, the report kind of follows through. So once I go through and say, hey, this is how I want my mini property report to be, this is what I want to include or exclude, I can go ahead and just run it without having to change those defaults. But that's going to go ahead and generate that report. You can email it to your client or you can just download it. Okay. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight on RPR and our values. And again, here's just that property report. It was silent that time because I turned that bell off. And if we come back and you want to learn more about customization or using our pricing tools like our RVM and our AVM, that's a whole hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes right there, just talking through our pricing tools. And I would be happy to do that. But that really is just the kickstart, getting you started. Get in there, try to search, look at the different map tools that are available, run some of the different types of searches that we have, save a listing, save a search. Access to that information is right here on your home page. I can look at all the saved properties. I can look at all my saved and recent searches. So all of that is available right here for you on the homepage. All right. You can check out RPR. If I can switch my screen, you can check out RPR mobile, download it. You get nearby inventory, market conditions. It syncs with your desktop. You can view properties in different views. You can save properties and searches, and you can share reports via like text message and social media. So that is a really cool feature as well. With that being said, that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions for me. But that's going to wrap things up.
Hey, Katie, we do have CMA accurate pricing scheduled on Wednesday, March 29th at 1.
Look at that. I
So
should have
please.
known that, Mitch, and I totally forgot.
That's okay.
I should have known. You don't normally schedule just one class.
No.
So great. Well, that'll be a great class, and we'll really dive into those pricing tools when we do that class at the end of the month. So looking forward to it.
This is an amazing product, and it gives you a fantastic CMA, nice printout.
It really does.
Yeah.
And we did, just if you guys have a second, we did a class yesterday on a national webinar, and a member wrote this email about the RVM value and how it wasn't lining up. And man, I went into the market and I was looking at homes, I think it was Idaho actually, that were in February of 2022 were $800,000, and now they're at $1 million. And he couldn't wrap his head around having an RVM value of properties that jumped 20%, but a list price that dropped at 15. And in 2022, those RVM properties that were listed at 800,000 were being listed at like 950 or $1 million. Like the RVM value to list price in 2022 is so drastically different from what it is today, even though the properties are valued higher according to the RVM and the AVM. And it was, I was a kid in a candy store this morning. And we'll dive into all of those good stats when we're back for the pricing tool at the end of the month. So really cool. So I had a question out there. What's an AVM? An AVM is just an estimate of property value. So if I come into RPR, and let me pull up my my homepage, we have properties within RPR. And of course I come in and I have one that doesn't have a value. You're going to get an RVM value in here. Wow. Which is looking at public record data and MLS data to determine value. But if I do a Google search, right, what's my home worth? You get 4 billion, almost 5 billion results in about a third of a second. So all of these: house value, estimate your value, what's my Tampa Bay home value, Zillow, all of these sites, Chase. These are all AVMs. They look at public record data to determine what the property's value is, right? And of course, there's always a start where they're looking for your email address, but it's just a way for consumers to gauge what a buyer would potentially pay for their property without using the expertise of a realtor. And sometimes it's true, and sometimes, I should say, sometimes it's accurate, and sometimes it's not. So it just, there you go. All right, any other questions? I'm happy to help. No? All right, well, we're going to wrap things up then. Thanks, Mitch, again, and I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.